Good morning. What's going on? How are we doing? I think everything's working. Yes, everything's working. Cool. All right. Let's get our chat pop out here. Boop, pop out. Looks like the servers are still down for a little bit longer. We're going to keep watching, keep an eye on them. But it said here a few minutes ago, database maintenance is taking slightly longer than expected. Should be done shortly. So that was just a couple minutes ago. So meanwhile, we are going to read up on some things and try to, keep up with the happenings of what is happening within Monsters and Memories. I try to read up on these every once in a while and just kind of keep track of the community, what's going on. Is leveling too fast? Let's see what people are saying most recently about this. This is categorically false. Oh my goodness. Okay. People just arguing. Cool. Love to see people just arguing. Janitors can't charm good stuff without charisma, which needs gear. That is true. That is true now, and that is a good change. Clerics, druids are less able to support a group fighting harder mobs as a healer without gear. That is less able to support is a good way of putting it. Wizards blast less per fight without gear. There's gear that gives plus mana regen. Please remember, etc., etc. So, this is probably somebody saying that, and I agree with this, that casters oftentimes require less gear. Let me actually update this real quick. Update anyway. Casters oftentimes require less gear than their melee counterparts, and that is 100% a true statement. And what it sounds like to me here. What's going on, Jeff? How you know, bud? What it sounds like to me here is people are trying to say, no, casters also need charm, or also need. I read charm right there. Also need gear, and yes, they do, but less amounts of it. They don't need. It's not as required as it is for tanks or as other melee DPS. Like, it is absolutely required for those classes. So, yeah. Maybe your point holds for Elementals to Necro. Don't know the classes well enough to... So, yeah, that's probably what people are talking about, saying that stats are not as important, which I do agree. Stats are not as important for those classes. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. I think that gear should be definitely a little bit different. Uh-oh. MnM is EverQuest. Well, guess what? Oh, my gosh, dude. What the heck? What is happening here? The issue Monster Memory is going to run through. Okay, let's. What are the most recent comments on this? I agree with 90% of what it says. Okay. Anyway. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Play Monsters Memories on Steam Deck with full EQOA style controller support. There you go. Nice little walkthrough of how to run it on the Steam Deck. That's nice. That's good. I have two buddies of mine that have figured out how to get it running on their Steam Deck. I don't know if they're doing it this way or not. Chat bubbles change my mind. Oh, geez. I will change your mind in one sentence or one statement or whatever. I don't know. I don't want stuff everywhere. Like I just don't want stuff popping up everywhere. I like a clean UI. That's it. That's the whole reason. I mean, I get that some people want to have the chat bubbles. I wouldn't care if they did it. But, yeah. Sitting simulator. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's this person again. The person that said they weren't going to play the game anymore apparently rolled a... oh, this is a while ago, though. Not a regular wizard. I bought a bunch of jewelry and a staff, so I have 50 int and stamina. Good morning. How you doing? This game is a sitting simulator. I mean, I get where they're coming from. It is a sitting simulator, but that's what people want. I mean, I agree with this statement right here. Please stop with their other games thing. I mean, I even say it sometimes. There are other games. Maybe this is just not the game for every single player. I would say that every game is not for every player, you know? This isn't a Mario platformer game. This isn't a first-person shooter game. Clearly, if you want those games, there's other games. So, you know, you got to be careful with how you say that and how you word it. I do agree with that. We need to stop saying that, but at the same time, sometimes it is, you know, just not the game for you. No Winrose. I was surprised how bad Sean threw Nick under the bus on his last stream. You know, I didn't want to comment on that. I didn't want to comment on that. That's why you came in early. Yeah. I heard it too. I heard it too. Like, it was pretty blatant. It was pretty blatant. But yeah, again, not going to make speculation, not all that kind of stuff, but yeah, that was rough. Mark, how's it going, Mark? Good morning, good morning. Oh no, he's on Discord. Uh-oh, this can never be good. It can never be good, ever. No, the game is down right now. We're waiting for it to come back up. Ali posted a couple minutes ago that the database maintenance was taking longer than normal, so yeah. Thing is that seems the left hand wasn't talking to the right hand, which is never a good sign. I mean, I was saying that from the beginning. I was literally saying that months prior. Like, it seems like one person doesn't know what another person is saying. They literally were contradicting each other on their individual streams constantly. One person would say one thing and the other would say something different, and it's like, what? It was just non-stop happening. Non-stop. And I called it out. I tried to let people know it was happening. You also had like the level locked raid mobs. Sean didn't even know they were in the game. At least that's my understanding. We brought it up to him in one of Sean's streams. Hey, there's level locked raid mobs in the game. He's like, what? Since when? Since, I don't know, a year ago? Like, they've been in for a long time. Like, just all sorts of weird stuff. Anyway, anyone playing this game under 40? Haven't seen anyone? Yeah, there's some people under 40. Back in my day. I love it. Good morning, good morning. I watched the Big Buy the other day, and he name dropped you. He did, yeah, he did. Had a lot of good things to say about your description and all the change. Yeah, like I think Sean appreciated my opinions on the class changes. He appreciated the excitement I had for the class changes, whether I agreed with them or disagreed with them. He seemed to appreciate them, you know. I don't agree with everything that they're doing all the time, and I don't think anybody will. You know, like the devs are going to be building their game, and that's great, and I love that the devs are building their game. But the community is also going to have the game that they hope for and wish for and want. You know, we're going to have differences of opinion, and that's okay. You know, so yeah. But Sean was, he was very nice about the things that I had to say about the game. I feel like he was very, you know, appreciative that I was making the content, and then you know, he even said he disagreed with some of my opinions and disagreed with some of my takes, and that's cool. You know, I don't mind that at all. Like, we probably play games differently. You know, I'm more of a hardcore player. He seems to be more of a casual, you know, like run through and kind of explore and that kind of thing player. And I just that's not the type of player that I am. So yeah. Freaked out a little. I made a PvP tune or two last night. Have my mains of PvE, opened up start and saw only PvP server. Thought I lost my PvE. Oh no! Yeah, no, it's just down right now. Also, what exactly did Sean say about Nick? I didn't watch the full stream, so I missed that part. He didn't strictly he didn't strictly say anything about Nick. Like, he didn't say Nick blah 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 blah. What Sean said was people previously on the team, and kind of made remarks that people previously on the team were holding back the rest of the team effectively. That's the remark that was made. I don't remember exactly. That wasn't something that needed to be called out in my overview videos because it's not pertaining to Monsters and Memories. It kind of is, you know, but it's more like, hey, there was some bad team members potentially on the team, and they are no longer on the team. Is how he basically said it. They just weren't doing what they needed to do. And I, you know, like I kind of have been hinting at it for a while, but I didn't. You know, I'm not here to bash people. I'm not here to bash individuals and say this person is doing a bad job specifically. I'm here to say what I like and don't like about the game. The devs they can take that however they want, and I'm going to continue to say what I like and don't like. And yeah, we focus a lot on the things that are bad, in my opinion, the negative side of things. We look at it, you know, I'm that type of person that looks at it in a negative light, and I get that, and things that I don't like, but, you know, yeah, I'm not going to pick on an individual and be like, Nick did this poorly. I don't agree with a lot of the things that Nick did. Doesn't mean they shouldn't be in the game, but I didn't agree with a lot of them. You know, so I was very vocal about that. You're 28, Lawrence? Nice, yeah. My wife is still in her 30s and plays. Nice, awesome. He never confirmed or denied that he's paying you. He is not paying me, guys. I have made zero money outside of my content creation for this game. Like, but no, Niche World's Cult has not paid me or anything. I know it's a joke, but I want to make sure everybody is very clear on that. I am getting absolutely nothing from Niche World's Cult. I just really enjoy Monsters and Memories, and I enjoy making content for it, so I'm going to continue doing that. You know, I make very, very little. I make some peanuts through Twitch and through YouTube for the content that I am making, and I appreciate anybody that watches that content. You know, it does help me out. So I think you were very hyped for the class breakdowns, and that resonated very positively. Yeah, I was super hyped for it. It was a long time coming, in my opinion. A long time coming. These things needed to happen such a long time ago, and it bums me out that we kept asking and kept asking and kept asking Like, why do we continue to go in these directions that we're going? And it was finally answered by the devs. And, you know, they agreed they agreed with the community, I feel like. I mean, I was very vocal about it, of course, and, you know, more of a in-your-face kind of person since I stream and make YouTube content. But I feel like the community as a whole wanted most of the changes that are coming. Now, that said, some of those class changes were like, what the heck? So we'll have to see how they play out. But yeah, I mean, I think we wanted it. My problem now is it seems they're reworking the classes, but it hasn't even started yet. Like, they don't even know what new skills. I think it has started. They just haven't, like, released that to us. My understanding of what's happening right now is some of those class changes are on the developer build already, and they are able to mess around with them and start working with them and trying to get them in the game. So I believe internally they have like a document that this is what each class is supposed to do. This is their role. This is how good it's supposed to be in like a scale of 1 to 10. You know, I don't think they have that exactly, but you know, like a fighter is supposed to be, you know, a 5 out of 10 on DPS, whereas a rogue is going to be a 10 out of 10 on DPS. You know, a ranger is going to be an 8 out of 10 on DPS. That's kind of where I'm getting at. They're not explicitly stating that, I don't think, but you know, I think that's what they're trying to say internally. But then on top of that, I think in the actual dev build, they're starting to make those changes. So when is the lottery? Today? It should be today at some point. So yeah, get in there and make sure you opt in for that lottery. I assume it'll be some point today. Yes. I'm extremely happy they are moving in the direction of making all the classes unique. Me too. Me too. And 3 and 4. All of me is excited about making everything unique. I despised that they were going the direction of hybrid classes. A mixture of this class plus this class. That was just a terrible idea in the very beginning. You know, like I get it that some people like that kind of stuff, but overall it just takes away from a game like this when you have a big world in an MMO. Because if your class does a little of this and a little of this, but then 2 other classes do all of it, you know, like separately, you're better off usually getting those 2 other classes. Like a cleric fighter might as well have a fighter and a cleric in your party rather than a paladin that can only do like half of each of those things. It's almost never good to put a hybrid in your party when they do it that way. Like that, we saw that in EverQuest for many, many years, you know, and they ended up in EverQuest even making those classes they're really non-hybrids anymore. They don't just pull in from, you know, they made their own unique spells and abilities and kind of went that direction. So anyway, hey, what's going on, Daniel? How you doing, bud? What advice would you give someone who has more modern MMO experience but is new to MnM and old school MMOs in general? Pantheon piqued my interest in the style, and now I'm loving this game so far. Only a level 7 druid, but I'm having a blast. Is it Boyan or Boyan? Anyway, the only advice that I would give is to take the game slow and learn as much as you can. Knowledge is power in this game, more so than your skill. Or like in World of Warcraft, like modern World of Warcraft or some of these modern MMOs, it's all about how quickly you can press buttons, knowing the min-max, knowing like all of the min-max numbers and that kind of thing. That's something that newer MMOs do a lot of. These older MMOs have a 4th job or a 4th role that these new MMOs just don't do, and that's the utility role. That alone is knowledge and makes knowledge power. So knowing that there is a 4th role in the game is going to make you a better player than like 90% of the community. Just understanding there is a fourth role that isn't DPS, that isn't tanking, and that isn't healing. Because most of these modern MMOs these days is just a focus on tank, heal, DPS, that holy trinity, and you want to maximize those three things. And people forget that utility role, the one that mezzes mobs, the one that gives you buffs, the ones that debuffs the enemy, that role is massive in this style of game. And people forget that. And over the last 27 years, even if they played EverQuest, they're forgetting that that role exists. So I would say make sure you just learn as much as you can about that. Take the game slowly, learn everything you can, and explore. Keep your eyes open. Don't expect things to be handed to you. In modern MMOs, it's like exclamation point on their head, question mark over their head. You need to go talk to that NPC and click on them and do stuff. Don't expect that at all. Expect anything to happen at any point around any corner, and it might. Yeah, the wiki is not super up to date. There's reasons for that. I wouldn't you can use the wiki. I recommend using the wiki and reading up on some things, but use the wiki. Come here into chat and ask questions. I'm happy to answer them for you. Go on a Discord and talk to people about it. Don't argue with people about stuff. Just if they come in and they disagree with your opinion on something, just move on. It's much better that way. But yeah, I feel like it's knowledge. Knowledge is power. So yeah, use the wiki if you can. Sometimes it's updated. But the devs have even said that, the wiki, for a while, the alpha players could have updated the wiki. We could have been updating the wiki for a year, but they didn't want us to because things were in constant flux. And now, again, things are in constant flux. All of the class descriptions and the spells and all that kind of stuff might be going away on that wiki. They could be completely out of, gone in the next month or two whenever they start getting these new classes in game. So yeah, just remember that. I would go to their website first and foremost. So go to monstersandmemories.com and read over the new class guide. Where is it at? World. Read over all these classes. Just click on whatever class you're interested in and actually read this, the identity of them. Defining traits will tell you what they're going to do. And then this is going to tell you how they're different. So you don't really need to read this part here necessarily unless you're currently playing. All you need to know is the defining traits of the class. This is all new players need to know. So go in and say, okay, what is an archer? They're going to be physical range DPS with no magic. So they're not going to have any type of magic. Can fire arrows at a reduced speed, has specialty arrows, etc. This is what the class is going to be. And, whatever it says there is what I would go by. There's going to be a lot of people on the Discord, a lot of people on Reddit, a lot of people in game, a lot of people probably even in this chat that are going to tell you that a class does something that it does not do. It happens often. And it's because they didn't read these descriptions or they don't understand and comprehend them. For example, for the longest time, people kept saying that fighter could flex into a DPS class, and that was the direction they were going with it. That was a bad direction that one dev started to go with it, but it was never the intended direction for the fighter. And that was the problem, is that the classes got very blurred for a long time. Because of the development of the classes and the direction that they were kind of going, which was never the intended direction. So, yeah, base it off of what is said here. Don't base it off of what random people think the class should be. Somebody might say that a fighter should be a hard-hitting, two-handed melee DPS class. That's not it. It's not it. But people might say that. People keep saying the enchanter is supposed to be a charm class, that its defining characteristic is being able to charm mobs and etc. etc. No, an enchanter is not that. It never was supposed to be that. Enchanter is supposed to be a utility class that has CC capabilities, lots of buffs and debuffs. It is that class I just spoke of a minute ago that is that fourth role that modern MMOs don't have. So people are just getting, they're getting their hopium up for like these classes to be like, oh, Enchanter's going to be the best DPS and the best support and the best this and the best this. And it's like, no. People are still getting their hope up on the Cleric. They're still thinking that the Cleric is going to be some sort of tanky melee DPS type of healer. That's not what it is. It's still not what it is. They have said that it wears heavy armor, it's going to use a shield while bearing blunt melee weaponry. Yes, it's just going to wear it. Doesn't mean it's going to be like a melee powerhouse, but people think it is. Capable of off-tanking. Capable does not mean an off-tank. It means it can in a pinch if it has to under certain circumstances. So just make sure, you're reading that kind of stuff. Some people are just, they're excited for what it could be rather than looking at what it will be. So anyway, moving on from that. With the changes to all the hybrid classes, which, if any, pique my interest, all of them, really. I'm still going to be a fighter. That's my goal. I'm still planning on playing a fighter. But, honestly, the Shadow Knight is looking really cool. I'm interested to see how the mechanics of the Monster Hunter thing are going to work. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do with the Spellblade. Spellblade looks really cool, but I don't know. I don't understand the Spellblade. So we'll have to see. I would say those two kind of pique my interest. Beastmaster kind of does, just because it's getting away from the shaman spells, and I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. I'm really curious what they're going to do with the pets. So you're going to tame a specific pet, and those pets are going to have their own unique abilities. At least it sounds like that's what they're going to do. And then are you going to be able to stable the different pets and pull different ones out for different situations, or are you going to have a main pet, and if you want to change your pet, you're going to have to go find another one and release yours into the wild and get a new pet. So I'm curious what they're going to do with that. Let's see. Shameless plug. Shout out to your guild, Dark Omen. You've been lucky to get into beta and loving every second of it. Awesome. Yeah, love that. And if you ever post in Discord, don't reveal what level you played a class to. Your opinion only counts if you level to 50 plus. Some children lurk in Discord. Well, I'm kind of that way too, Goonie, and I don't know if you're referring to me or not, but let me say it this way. When somebody levels a class to 20 and then thinks that they know everything about the class all the way up to level 60 and how the game plays all the way to level 60 and talks like they know that, it's like you got to level a class higher than that. Your opinion can still matter for the level 1 to 20, right? And your feedback is still helpful. I like this class. I don't like this class because of blah, 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 up to level 20, right? That's very helpful and great information. But to say something like Charm is not overpowered because you can only use it up to level 52 and you only got an enchanter up to level 20. Well, you don't even know what happens at level 52. So you can't even say whether it's helpful or not helpful because you didn't do it. So that's the one where I get really annoyed with players that try to make these big, bold statements without actually seeing it in game, seeing it actually played out. So sure, another good example of this is saying I got all 4 tanks to level 15 and the fighter was by far the best. Well, did you know that the 3 hybrid tanks, the 3 knight tanks, don't even get double attack until 20? So that means that the fighter, of course, is going to be better because they're going to get dual wield at 10 and double attack, I believe, at 15. So maybe those get it at 15 as well. But anyway, the point is the fighter's going to feel better because they get the double or the dual wield earlier. So from level 10 to 15, they're going to feel a lot better. They're going to feel like a better class all around. But then if you play those 3 knights to level 30 or 40, you start to see a much bigger difference with the utility that those 3 have over what the fighter had. So the game does change a lot after level 20. And I'm really, really, really annoyed when a player's like, I leveled every class to level 20, and here's how every class is good and bad. And it's like, I mean, you can give some input there, but a lot of these classes and the game itself changes. The game becomes way more difficult in the 40s and 50s. You see a lot more spellcaster mobs. You see areas of the game that have a lot more dense enemies in them. You start taking a lot more damage from the melee attacks. Everything becomes more difficult. And leveling up to 20 is not going to give you a good feel for this game. It's going to give you the like, okay, it's an old school game. It's punishing if you die. It rewards exploration. It's going to give you that, sure. And it's going to give you a basic feel like, oh, this is a healer, this is a tank, this is a DPS. It's going to give you that. But it's not going to tell you like how good some of these classes are or how bad they are until later on. Because, like I said, level 20, a lot of the classes still feel very similar, very, very samey. So, but no, what Goonie's saying is true. If somebody says like, if they're like, bash you for being low level, ignore those. With changes to all the hyper classes, we read that. Let's see. The best changes for me is definitely Rogue and Fighter. I love Fighter change. It's exactly what I was hoping it would be. Me too. I was really hoping the Fighter would end up being, was what it was supposed to be in the first place, is a tank. First and foremost, it's a tank. So many people were trying to say that the Fighter was supposed to be a DPS class. There's a lot of people saying that, and it's like, that's not true. I'm wrong about Enchanter? Why? Tell me why. Like, what's wrong with Enchanter? Fortnite Saved the World a kind of long time ago. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I played Fortnite Save the World for a very long time. I just got access like 4 days ago, and it seems like things are currently at a turning point for classes, so I'm keeping my eye on that. Yeah, they are in a big turning point right now. Enchanter is known for enchanting, alluring, charming, mezzing the mobs. Yeah, absolutely. It is. So how am I wrong about that? That's literally what I've been saying the Enchanter is. Right now, currently in the game, and for the past however long, Enchanter has been known as charm, mob, send in. That's it. That would, like, its entire identity was around charm, not enchanting, alluring, and mezzing mobs. Those were secondary. It was 100% focused around charming, and they're getting away from that. Charm is still going to be in the game. Charm is still going to be a very powerful spell. It's just not going to be the crutch that it currently is. That's the problem with enchanters, is so many people are making an enchanter, and then the enchanters are required to charm in parties. It's not needed. Their increase in their haste, giving you 50% more haste to your party, giving you mana regen to your party, slowing the mobs by up to 50%, giving like the strength buffs and strength debuffs to enemies. Like this turn, that everything on the enchanter outside of charm can turn the tides from like an enemy being up here and the party down here to the party being up here and the enemy down here, because it can debuff the enemy so much and then buff the party so much that it literally flips the scales. That's without charm. It doesn't need charm to function. People just want the charm because it is so powerful, and it's a crutch. If you rely on charm in this game, then I mean, I'm gonna be kind of mean about it. You're probably a bad player if you're relying on charm. I have used charm myself because it's so good. It is so powerful. Why would you not use it? That's the problem with charm, is that it is just so stinking strong that it trivializes so much of the content. That's the problem with it. So Anyway, doesn't matter. It's getting changed. Devs have decided on it. Whether it was because of me or the community, I don't think it was me. I'm positive the devs didn't go, you know what, Criddle's right. We're going to change it because of Criddle. You guys can say that all you want, and I appreciate that. I think, it's kind of a, hey, cool. A pat on my back, make me feel like that boosts my ego some to make me actually feel more important than I actually am. I'm not that important, guys. I'm not important at all. I'm one person with an opinion about how I think the game should go. I highly doubt that my words alone swayed the devs in one way or the other. Highly, highly doubt it. I think I'm going to be happy with the two classes I play, Fighter and Cleric. They're looking good to me. They're finally, both of those classes are finally coming out as their role of tank, sturdy tank, and really, really solid healer. So that's what I'm loving about those two. Do you think there should be or will be a wipe? If so, when? I'm thinking maybe there should be, but I hope they don't on the beta. I hope, if anything, they open up a second beta server for a fresh start and allow players to continue playing their high-level players so that we can test out the higher-level content with our higher-level players. Because, by the time they actually get all of this in, all of the classes in, that's when they would need to do a fresh start to see how the leveling is going to work out, how the economy is going to work out. There's so much that needs to happen in the game before a fresh start server happens that if they delay and do a fresh start, let's say in July sometime, then they're only going to have August and September to really tweak things to get things in a place where it needs to be for October release. And when we're not going to be able to test out some of the high-end content. Sure, there will be a few players that do push to level 60 on the fresh start server, but I don't think it's going to be enough time at that point. I didn't think it was really enough time for the beta, so we'll see. Hey, what's going on, Kazu? How you doing, bud? There will be a wipe October 1st. Yeah, like Goonie's saying, there will be a wipe October 1st. That's going to be the start. But I'm talking about a beta wipe. I think 40 is pretty fair to judge a class. Once you get to about 40, I would say 40, you start to really open up the game and start to see a lot of the differences of the classes. It becomes a little bit more difficult at that point. You don't necessarily have to get to 60, but I think anything 20 or lower, you don't have enough under your belt. You don't have enough knowledge there yet. So, yeah. Referring to SK recent thread, people freaking out about SK not being SK because they're moving away from EQ SK version, so people have played Monsters Memories 1 to 30 have just a valid opinion as someone played 50 on how SK feels compared to EQ. Not sure. I got the words this morning. No, that's fair. That's very fair, Goonie. I would agree with that. Yeah, on the SK topic, on the Shadow Knight topic, I feel like we need to wait and see what they do. All they said with the Shadow Knight is that it's going to be a Beast Master or a Monster Hunter type of character, and it's going to get its abilities from the monsters that it fights. We don't know what those abilities are. They could very much be undead, necromantic themed abilities like the Shadow Knight already has. They could slay 1,000 enemies and learn how they die, so that you, as a monster hunter, learn how to fake your death. Feign death. Right? They might have feigned death based on after killing 1,000 enemies. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, so they die and they fall this way and they learn from fighting monsters. That's it. That's all they're saying there. So give them some time before we start jumping to conclusions that a Shadow Knight is no longer a Shadow Knight. It is now a Monster Hunter or Witcher or something along those lines. We don't know. We haven't seen the abilities. You literally don't know. So, yeah. Anyway. Maybe tank and or DPS. Well, that's the thing. They're not doing that with these classes, Ice. That's the problem, and that's where people come into this game and they want a WoW-esque type of game. They want a game where they can play a druid and they could be a tank, they could be a melee DPS, a ranged DPS, or a healer. They want that. They want to be able to, oh, I can just flex into these roles. I can switch it up by speccing into this other thing, putting on this type of gear to be this other thing. That's not this game. That is not the way that this game is intended to be played. So, not that you need to go play a different game. Not going to say that. But you need to understand this game is every class has a role or a job that they do well. And that is their role or job. If you don't want to tank, don't play a fighter. If you don't want to heal, don't play a cleric. People need to understand that this game is, it's very strict when it comes to what your role is in a group or in a raid or just anywhere in the game once you choose your class. Charm mob's doing more damage than my rogue is crazy. Yeah, definitely needs to be toned down. Exactly. That's 100% what it is. Charm mob's doing more damage than any other DPS in the class or in the game. Period. No DPS in the game. Not a single player in the game is doing more damage than a charm mob. It doesn't happen right now. And that's the biggest issue. Back in 2000, 2004, good old days of EQ, enchanters never charmed. Yeah, exactly. I played an enchanter in EverQuest from 2000 to about 2004. Maybe 2005. By the time I quit EverQuest, people were just starting to discover charm. And it was a completely different play style. The entire game was played differently. Every single group still wanted an enchanter without charm. They didn't care if they charmed or not. And they wanted an enchanter in their group for the haste, for the clarity, for the mezzing, all of those. Like, that's why they wanted them in the group, not because of charm. And I want this game to get back to that. I would love to see them get back to the utility classes being prized for a group. So I've literally read people like, nobody's going to play an enchanter, and nobody's going to want an enchanter if they get rid of charm. That is complete garbage. That is because you started playing EverQuest in like 2005 or later, and that's all that they've been known for that amount of time. If you played an enchanter in 1999, 2000, 2001, you know that an enchanter was never a charm class back then. They didn't do it. I played one, I know. Like, anybody that says that they charmed back in that time is most likely fabricating their story, misremembering what they did, or they were way ahead of their time, like so far ahead of their time that they were the only player doing it, which is highly unlikely. When I asked you to not use charm in your group, you never made that happen. I did it last night, Brian. Like, I do it all the time, Brian. Chill out, dude. Your takes are not very good. I don't use charm often, and it's terrible to not use charm in the game because charm is so overpowered. Like, tell me why you want to do things and we'll talk about it, but you never actually talk about it. You just tell me to do things and expect me to drop everything I'm doing and doing it right then immediately. So, anyway. Shaman need to have the better top-end slow. Enchanter the better top-end haste. They do. Enchanters shouldn't have the best everything. They currently do. Shaman has the best slow. Enchanters have the best haste. So that is already a case. And it probably will stay that way. Also, side note, starting a bard yesterday. I can't wait to see what these new damage songs they mentioned will be. I assume it's damage buffs for the group, which is exciting. So I don't know either exactly, but the Bard currently has Rift songs. They have like 5 or 6 of them that they get throughout their leveling. And I think that that's what they're going to be. Bards are now going to have, at least in the future, are going to have songs that do damage directly to the mob. And they're going to be better than what they currently are. Because currently they're not worth casting. You're way better off casting a haste or a slow or a mana regen and those kind of spells to boost your party than to use any type of damaging spell. So we'll have to see what they do with it, but yeah. My friend, level 57 enchanter, he doesn't charm as much because he's power leveling, but he's a master class in mezzing. Awesome, yeah. But you can in fact, charm all the way to level 60 as an enchanter, even though it stops at level 52. You just charm level 52 mobs and kill level 54 mobs. It's pretty simple. My opinion with Enchanter Kit, the way it is, it almost removes a huge need for Shaman outside of heals. No, Shaman still has the best slow in the game and the best melee buffs in the game, and they have the heals. So they're still gonna be wanted for sure. The Enchanter only has a strength buff, while the Shaman has a strength, agility, dexterity, and stamina buff. It does all 4. It also has the best slow in the game and the best debuffs in the game. It's going to debilitate the target more than the Enchanter ever will. So Shaman is absolutely going to be wanted in parties. Classic EQ, the high-end Shaman slow was much different. And it still is, guys. It still is. Shaman slow needs to dominate. It still does. I promise you guys it still does. I play a rating SK, main EQ. This game SK was a direct copy of EQ. Now they're changing it. People butthurt over it. I love it when they're making SK with their vision. I do too. I do too, Goonie. I'm glad that they're making it in their own vision and they're not copying EverQuest. I'm so happy for that. Most DPS was low on other classes, so they should have upped those before changing charm. Then a group would not need charm in a group. That's a direction they could have gone, Brian. That is one of the many directions they could go, but it's not the only way they can go. Like, for you to think that they should have only done that, go make, I don't want to be a jerk, but go make your own game. Same thing that Sean said the other day. If you guys have so many opinions on what the devs should be doing, make your own game. Like, it's like, I don't know what to say. They are making their game in their vision of what they want it to be. And if you disagree with that, you can disagree with it. But telling them what they should do or shouldn't do, I say what I would like to see in some of the things, I think they should do some certain things or whatever. But I'm not the only one. Like, my opinions are my opinions, and we need to understand that. Zombie skin adds a damage shield to your person. That would be kind of a cool thing to add, yeah. That's what Pantheon is doing, I believe. Which one? The zombie skin? That would be cool, yeah. How is this game still not up yet? What the heck? It's been 40 minutes since I got on. Since the last update. Ali, what are you doing? Looks like take another 30 minutes before beta 1. Sorry about that. The database is going as fast as it can. There you go. So he updated it. That was 37 minutes ago. Ah! Everybody freak out. It's been 37 minutes and he said 30. Don't do that. Do you know when these class changes are going in? We don't know when they're going to go in. I would imagine at least a month or 2 months. Don't expect them, but it's not like they're all going in at once. That's something that Sean did say the other, whatever day it was on the stream. They're going to just roll them in as they're done. So don't expect it like all of these at the same time to come in. The new class proposal says rolls, tank, melee, DPS. It does say, because it does do DPS, it does melee, right? It doesn't just stand there and tank. That's not exclusively, it doesn't do anything but stand there and tank. It does some melee DPS, yes. That's like, come on, guys. Like, you're splitting hairs here. It's going to hit the mob, so it does melee DPS. I asked to do it to prove your point. I've already done it, Brian, and you didn't see it, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to go out and be like, let me show you. Come on, dude. Go find it yourself, man. I've already done it. I'm not going to babysit you on this. 32. Yeah. YouTube is actually growing pretty quickly. I like it. I love where YouTube's going. Thank you guys for watching over on YouTube. I mostly stream over on Twitch. I used to never stream on YouTube, so now that we're starting to get more people in on YouTube, I love it. We charm sometimes in Kunark and Velius, but our EQ and EQ are optimized. We preferred our enchanter to focus on CC. Charm was too unreliable, and correctly or incorrectly, we felt the risk was not. Yeah. Well, that's kind of, yeah, I would agree with that. There were people that started to charm in the Kunark Velius era. That's where it started, sure. I started charming in the Velius era, trying it out. That's where I learned about it. But it was still ultimately better to not charm. It was better to CC. And, you know, it didn't happen until later where they started to, like, really utilize charm. Unless they fix it, Shaman won't have the mana to debuff when only healer in the group. That's why they need to use the Cannibalize. You have to use Cannibalize. If you're playing a Shaman and you're not using Cannibalize every 12 seconds or whatever the cooldown is on it, then you're not going to be playing very efficiently on the Shaman. You have to use Cannibalize. It is a very mana-hungry class. That's why they give it Cannibalize. Now, I don't know if that's going to continue in the future. They could change that. They could lower some of the buffs or debuffs mana cost in the future. I don't know. And that could solve that problem. Top slow and classic EQ is 75% slow, Enchanter at 50%. MnM, it's 50 and 40, 10% difference. It's not 25. It's not. This is an EQ. So stop comparing it to EQ. We're done. Like, that solves the problem, right? Stop comparing this game to EverQuest, and you solve 90% of your problems. Most people will. But there's too much like, well, in EQ this, well, in EQ that. Stop. This is Monsters and Memories. Let it be Monsters and Memories. It'll solve your issues. Right now, my 50% slow lets my pet fight level 48 mobs with little healing support. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That is a level 55, 56. I don't know what Haas is now, but he's pretty high. I'm not crazy for enjoying Charm, not for damage, but for more CC. Well, it will be CC. They actually specifically stated Charm will be a CC skill. It'll be there for CC. By that, I mean Polar brings in a group of 3. I charm one, send it in to fight another one while we focus the other one down. Absolutely. That's what it should be. That's how charm should be used. Is you pull 3 mobs, have one off tank another one while you burn down the third, and then you switch to another one. That 100% the idea. Slow and Enfeeble is so good. It is, yeah. Slow and Enfeeble is insanely good. Might have to go get a bagel for breakfast sandwich. Ooh, that sounds good. What kind of bagel do you like? I like the steak, egg, and cheese bagel from McDonald's. I don't know why. Pantheon is doing hot bars to swap between tank DPS with the mastery. And that's fine. That's Pantheon's thing. That's the direction they're going. You know, that's why I say that Pantheon is becoming more like World of Warcraft. Every day, every patch, every time they open their mouths, I just see more World of Warcraft. So, well, I mean, some people might like that. Paladin doing melee DPS, but it doesn't list that as a role. No, because its primary is going to be tanking with some healing. It's not going to be doing much damage at all. It's going to be tanking and healing. So, you gotta understand how these classes work. The fighter is a tank first and foremost. It is a melee DPS in the secondary part that it does, not as a primary. So many people are trying to say that as a fighter, you can spec into a primary DPS role. That is not the role. So stop fighting it, guys. Just stop. Stop trying to push that agenda onto this game. It's not happening. The devs have come out and said that is not what they are. So that is not what they are. Thank you for taking time to answer all of our questions. Yeah, no worries, John. Got to stack HP, stamina, eat yourself. You do, yeah. Cannibalize is big. I fully plan to play. Yeah, the troll shaman for the HP regen is probably going to be like this shaman. Really, it really will. Like that regen's going to help them out quite a bit. Now the only thing is, will the troll regen stack with other forms of regen in the game? Like, if I get an item that gives me +3 regen and my troll regen is +3 regen, will I get +6 or will I only still have +3? I'm curious how they're going to do that. You know, some of the class traits are very strong. Other class traits are not as strong. And if they make it stack, depending on how they do it, it could be too strong and too good of a race for a class. So I'm sure they're going to have to balance it. We'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, Troll, I think the Troll regen absolutely be really good. Am I a dev? I am not a dev, no. I am just a very opinionated content creator for Monsters of Memories. EQ was part of the inspiration, but MnM is MnM. Yes, yeah. And honestly, I think MnM is better than EQ. And yeah, and that's a solid opinion, and yeah. But yes, it is an inspiration. It is a foundation. World of Warcraft was an inspiration. Vanguard was an inspiration. Star Wars Galaxies was an inspiration. These were all inspirations. I would say that EverQuest was the primary inspiration for Monsters of Memories, but it does not make the game Monsters of Memories. It's brutal watching the devs have to deal with the vocal EQ purists. It really is, Warm. Like, I loved EverQuest. I loved EverQuest for what it was, but that was EverQuest. So, I don't know. I can see the difference. Shamans can't wear the giant ring belt. You can use plate hand lamp, which is better though. Yeah. So, and I don't think that health regen stacks. So if you had both the belt with 3 regen on it and the lamp with 5 regen on it, I don't think you get 8. But somebody that has both maybe can confirm or deny that. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you don't. Pantheon, Rise of the Warcraft, yeah. It's plate, essentially? Yeah, it is. I don't know what's better, though. Is that giant belt with 3 regen better than the haste belt? I have the haste belt, personally. But, yeah. I'm a DPS fighter because I have a 2-handed sword. Oh, my gosh. Yes. It's just a big band of metal. It is, yeah. You know what that actually, though, what's funny about that? The fire giant ring that is used as a belt. There was a giant toe ring in EverQuest that I got on my enchanter that was used as a belt for small races. I remember that because I remember getting that item and being like, this is cool. I love this. I was super excited about it. That was way, way, way back in like 2003 or something. Exactly, Pity. They actually said that fighter damage would be reduced. Fighter damage, so fighter is a melee DPS class, but it is a tank. It is a tank that does melee DPS. Whereas a rogue is a strictly melee DPS class, first and foremost. So that people need to understand that the melee DPS side of it is secondary. That is where all of its abilities are going to be coming from, is the melee DPS side of things. They probably should just change that to a melee combatant or something. This is another thing that Sean kind of said, is the wording on their website and the way that they have things, you know, worded could probably use some tweaks, and people are holding on to that a little too closely. And they're like grasping onto that. I've done the same thing with it. I realize that I've done that. I read something and say, well, this is what it sounds like and how it's going to work based on the wording. But, you know, I think, you know, some of us look at it in different ways than others. When it says melee DPS up there, people read it as a premier melee DPS class, rather than it just is a class that does melee DPS. Whereas a paladin is going to be doing some very like melee. It's going to melee, of course. It's going to be swinging its weapon, but it also has spells in its arsenal. It's going to be doing other things as well. So yeah, we gotta look at it that way. What is my favorite? What is my favorite M&M? I don't have a favorite. They all taste the same. Did you actually know that, by the way? Or is that Skittles? All of them taste the same. They just have a different color to them. Like, I read that somewhere or saw that somewhere recently, and I was like, interesting. They literally all have the same flavor. Why can't a mob under the charm effect just normalize to do strength of the summoned pet? They could, and they might do that, Clark. I don't know what their plan is with it, but they absolutely could do that. Or it will burn their HQ down. It has to, or I will burn their HQ down. And loot a Nike shoe store if race regen doesn't stack with spell regen and item regen. It'll stack with spell regen. I don't know that it'll stack with item regen, but it might. It might. But don't go burning HQ down, which I guess would technically be what, Sean's house? Don't do that. Nor go burn down a Nike store or loot it or whatever. Don't do those. Tried looking for a pale headlamp on Wiki, didn't find it. How much HP regen? It's 5 HP regen on the pale headlamp. But it's -5 charisma. Do you know when they said Troll would be implemented? Troll will probably be in for Module 3, which is now technically Module 2, since Module 1 is coming out with the start of Early Access. So I don't know how they're actually going to like structure that, if they're just going to say Early Access is starting with Module 1, and then they're going to have Module 2 and 3 later on. But around Module 3 is when Trolls will probably be in. That is supposed to be the Swamp Times, I think. It might be Module 2. I may be wrong on that. But I remember, like, I had a video on it a while back where Sean talked about it. It's going to be 2 or 3 or something around there. I can't remember exactly. But it's not going to be until, like, at this point, let's see, October, so November, December, January. No earlier than January, February of 2027. We're going to see Trolls, most likely. 1 item regen, 1 spell regen, or mana regen, and 1 racial trait should stack. I mean, I don't disagree. I think that would probably be a good way to go as long as they can balance it properly. Haste is way better. I agree, Haas. That wasn't yesterday. Wait, what wasn't yesterday? The retaliation is really interesting. I think the retaliation that they're talking about is going to be riposte, or something very, very similar to riposte. It may not be like a fighters always have riposte, and I'm using fighters as an example. They say the retaliation on a couple of different classes. But like it may not necessarily be that fighters always have the riposte. It may be they have the ability to put up a defensive for like 15 seconds or 10 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever, some small amount of time, where they, instead of receiving damage, automatically counterattack all damage for that amount of time, which would be a defensive offensive spell, which I think is something that fighters need. I think that would be fantastic. Like, I'm hoping they get a riposte so they always, every time they parry, they have a chance to riposte. But a spell where they're guaranteed 100% riposte for 10 seconds would also be freaking amazing. I would love to see that. And it's called Pale. It is called Pale Headlamp, yeah. It drops in Upper Salmon. The lower part of Upper Salmon. It's fun to try and get. It is fun to try and guess. Like I think it's fun to speculate on all these classes, all these class changes. All right, Ali. It's been 53 minutes, my friend. What? Where's our game? Do I need to close this? Maybe I need to close this. Am I the only one that's the dumb that didn't close it? Oh my goodness. What's happening here? It's not back up yet? Oh, I got to put in my password. Maybe. Why is this taking so long to load now? That's weird. We're going to do a quick restart. I haven't restarted my computer in a while, and it needs to do an update anyway. Restart, approximately 2 minutes. Okay, we'll do that while we keep chalking here. I want my fighter to yell like a Diablo barbarian when they shout. That would actually be kind of cool. Like, Monsters in Memory style. But yeah, I'll be okay with that. Might get annoying over time, but it would be nice to get some of the feedback when we shout outside of raising our hands up. Yeah. They sure don't taste the same. Wait, what doesn't taste the same? Are we talking about the bagels? You can easily fact check that with a blind test. I mean, you could fact check that with a blind test, but I literally remember reading something recently that said that I think it was Skittles taste different, or taste the same. All Skittles taste the same. I don't know how true that was. It was literally, it could have been like a meme. I don't know what the heck it was. It could have been anything. Peanut M&Ms are different. Thanks to my wife for pointing that out. I can't stand the red and blue ones now. Really? How are they different? They're just chocolate and peanut butter. I don't think that's true. If you spend any time on Discord, you'll know that trolls were the first race implemented. That is true, Nidiak. That is true. The journey to 60 will always be a grand adventure, but how did you prioritize what to do after that? How do I prioritize it? I'm all about going after items. Unfortunately, my group hit level 60, and then they extended the beta. So my group hit level 60, and we're like, okay, well, we hit level 60. Do we really need to get itemization because the beta's coming out in, a few weeks? And at that point, they're like, no, we don't want to do that. Long story short, we didn't go after items. But in early access, that would be what we would do. We probably will start camping some items now since beta is going to be a lot longer. We're going to be looking at doing that now. You don't want to cooldown riposte. That's another hotkey on your bar. I do want to cooldown riposte. But I do want to cooldown riposte, but I don't want like the merciless assault that's currently in the game, right? I don't want that. All right, let's see if this actually remembers me. Also, I guarantee riposte that also engage damage will just make tanking be a rotation of 4 warriors. Not good for the game. Oh, I can see that too. Yes, I can see that too. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Having a 100% cooldown, it would make it a rotation where you taunt, use cooldown, taunt, use cooldown, taunt, use cooldown. That could absolutely happen. Yes. My goodness, these updates are like really slow. Crazy slow. What is this? Got it. Yeah, I got it. Cool. My goodness. All right, all updated. We're ready to go. Holy moly, what the heck was that? Man, why is this so slow? All right, let me switch to this and get my passwords. It's up now? Okay, cool. Definitely not Skittles. We're going to look at it here in a second because I read that recently. Monsters and Memories. I forgot my I always forget my password, so I save it. There we go. Guess you have to go full PvP, PvE servers wiped. All right, let's hang on. Let's do all Skittles taste the same? Technically, no. Skittles are manufactured to have distinct fruit flavors, strawberry, blah, 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 blah. However, they all have the same or extremely similar underlying base smell and texture, which often leads to popular belief that they taste the same. There you go. So it's a popular belief that they taste the same, but in fact, they do not. Now, do all M&M colors taste the same? Yes, all standard milk chocolate M&M colors taste the same, as they are produced with the same chocolate formula and differ only with the food coloring. So unless you can taste the food coloring, which you might be able to, then there you go. That answers that, according to Google, which may or may not be accurate. Server's up for me. Woohoo! I think it's after the aftertaste of the coloring. Maybe, yeah, the bitterness. It could be. It could be. Like some of them might have more food coloring than another one because, like purple, you need red food coloring and blue food coloring, which makes more food coloring to make the purple. Or I don't know. I'm just spitballing. They all have the same flavor, sugar. Maybe. I don't think you can get Skittles in Europe because of the dye. Really? That's crazy. Trick question. Peanut M&Ms taste different? All right. We'll check that one too real quick. Do peanut M&Ms have different We're going to change the way that we say that. Do peanut M&Ms all taste the same? There we go. No. All peanut M&Ms do not taste the same. While the core ingredients, milk, chocolate, etc., are consistent, variations like honey roasted peanut M&Ms, that's honey roasted. That's different. Come on. Come on, Google. You got... Based on color. All peanut M&Ms taste the same regardless of color. There you go. I don't know, man. Google's never wrong, right? It's never wrong. It's the internet. It's not wrong. There was a study that came out, basically said Skittles was poison. Ouch. I loved Skittles as a kid. I used to eat so many Skittles as a kid. Yeah, we trusted you. I know, I trusted you, Google. The heck? Some people taste and the smell stronger than the... Yes, yeah, that's probably true. You could probably smell it, which probably... Smell is what, like 80%? What do they say? Let's see. How much taste is based on smell? Approximately 80 to 90% of what we perceive as flavor is actually derived from our sense of smell. Thanks, Google. Very interesting stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Some people are just going to be very, like, prone to certain things, like... All right, Arcane Powder. Let's see. We want to get rid of Nomad's Grace, Dune Leaf. I need Galdivine, Astral Powder, Iron Root, Iron Leaf. I'm kidding in here because I need not Sylvine Powder. Mage Bloom here. So we have Mage Bloom. Okay. Do people not have taste buds? Skittles obviously taste different between each other. I mean, according to Google, they do taste different. Do all people taste the same, though? Asking for a friend. I don't know. Skittles poison where you drank those hose water. Oh, yeah. I drank hose water a lot as a kid. I remember sitting outside my house, turning on the hose on a hot summer day, turning it on, letting it run for a second to get all the hot water out, and then just chugging hose water. Oh, my gosh, dude. That was the best tasting water. I also used to drink water right out of the tap. I know, weird. Like, I would get thirsty in the middle of the night, and I would go to the bathroom of all things, and just drink water right out of the tap in the bathroom. Arcane Front. Okay, let's go try to make some potions. Clowns say it's funny? They do. It's kind of weird. More useless knowledge for my brain to store? Nah. I cannot smell... You cannot smell what? You can't smell at all? Ouch. That's awful. Lead makes you stronger? Oh, yeah. For sure. Makes you, like, super powerful. You want to be Superman? Eat a bunch of lead. Don't do that, by the way. I am not a doctor. Do not take any type of medical advice from me or anything like that. Just don't. Don't take any type of medical advice from anyone on the internet, period, including doctors. Go to your doctor in person and talk to the doctor. My brother did that. The water stained his teeth brown. Ew. It's because Skittles contain titanium dioxide, which is considered unsafe for human consumption in EU, but can be eaten in America. You know, here in America, we eat a lot of things that we shouldn't. Have they said anything about raids? There are raids in Monsters and Memories, and that's basically all they've said about it. Okay, we need tempered vials. We need 27. All right, here we go. We're going to make some int potions. Come on, give me them skill ups, baby. Lots of skill ups. That's all I care about. Don't care about actually making the potions. Although, you know, a few of the potions would be nice. But skill ups is where it's at. Yeah, my girlfriend makes fun of me now because I don't even like to get water out of the tap to boil to make noodles. I know it's a weird thing. People are going to be like, that's so dumb. I actually use the filtered water out of the fridge and put it into a pot to then boil the water. All right, Greater Wisdom is Mage Bloom and Phoenix Flower Powder? Where the heck is Phoenix Flower at? You use smart water to be fancy? Okay, I'm not that crazy. I don't know where Phoenix Flower is. Anybody know? Int tongue, last breath, and last breath. Why is the wisdom cheaper than the dexterity potion? That seems kind of cheesy. If that's the one I'm thinking, try glass flats. Okay. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about in glass flats. That might be Phoenix Flower and then Mage Bloom. I think I would rather get... I mean, these are probably the easiest. And make stamina potions. I need to figure out where to get Basilisk Teeth. Because if those aren't hard to get... That's where I draw the line. My wife wants to use filtered water for boiling pasta as well. I use it all the time for it. And it does taste... It tastes different, guys. It does taste different. Now, whether you want to do it or not, like some people might want the flavor of the tap water because it does taste different. Like I said, some of the best water I've ever drank was out of a hose on the side of the house. It tasted different, and I liked it. It's weird. I want to try to get these Basilisk Teeth, but it looks like they don't stack. So I think that's kind of a pain to do. And I think Phoenix Flower, I know Mage Bloom is over there. If Phoenix Flower is also over there... We'll have to check. All right, we'll work on that some more. I have ideas and plans, I think. What was Dragon's Vigil? Do you remember what skill you need for Dragon's Vigil? Wiki says 125. That might be right. Might be right. There's the Lighthouse Island in Shallow Shoals where you do Sea Giant Hanky. I don't know if the ones in KB Drop Teeth. I was thinking about the ones over in Glass Flats. There's some over there. But I don't know if I'm going to work on that today. I'm thinking today we're going to play the Wizard some more. Because I want to level the Wizard. And I want to have a class that I can solo with. But I also do want to do Alchemy. So I'm kind of torn. I'm actually kind of torn. I have a question if anyone knows the answer. I made saddlebags to skill up, but I'm too poor, low level, to have a mount. When right-clicking items from inventory to put in bank, the items went into the saddlebag, but the game won't let me open the saddlebag. That's rough. That is rough. What you could try to do, first of all, bug report that. Second of all, though, I think you can trade items with another player, even if they have items in a bag with another player, but it'll put the items on the cursor, and the player will have to then finagle their inventory around. So you might be able to do something like that, or find somebody that has a mount and get them out for you. If you want, I can help you with it if you want. Are you here in town? I could take your saddlebag and put it onto my mount and get the items out for you. Just copper daggers, basic stuff. Yeah, if you really need me to, I can swap it for you. You're an Evershade Wield? Oh, well, maybe find somebody that's over there that could do it. Help you out. That might be easier. Yeah, I haven't seen that before, but that is definitely something I would bug report. So what do we want to do then? Let me think. I kind of want to play, I want to go get items. I want to go farm some stuff. But there's really nobody on to go farm stuff with. I think we're going to start farming some items soon with the group, but I don't know. The problem is getting on and starting that farm early enough. It's going to be hard to farm some items now because so many things are just mega camped. Speaking of mounts, I saw Artax's corpse by the docks. You never get revived. That's not my Artax. My Artax is on the stable right now. That's a different Artax. I'm sure Artax is going to be a pretty common pet name. But mine's right here. So, all gravy, baby. But yeah, let's play the Wizard a little bit, maybe. I was going to not level the Wizard, but I think now I am going to level the Wizard some. Or keep leveling the Wizard some. Let's go, wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. Harry Potter. All right, let's see. Inventory's looking okay. We have 10 wood. 30 wood. 30 wood sounds good to me. How long do I have in Sal? We get a Sal refresher here. Look at that. This guy's selling wood. 4 silver a stack. Where's he at? Kibba, 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 kibba. There he is. How much silver do I have on me here? 40? There you go. You got 40 silver. Give me all you got. That's good enough. I'll take it. Got 1 hour on that. We can get rid of this. We can go... Let's go, we'll get another level. Well, I'm debating here. Electric wave. I thought it was the electric slide. Weird. Let's go over here, see if anybody's actually fighting in Fallen Pass. There's probably a bazillion people over here. But we're going to do this just for a little bit. Where could I go next? After Fallen Pass. I think Fallen Pass will be good to like 21. I might be able to go to some other place now. What's my herbalism at? Herbalism is at 100? Exactly. Where is a good place to quad kite? I need to get so much more intelligence, too. Like, I need to get int rings made. And earrings and a necklace. Really need to get those. Have we tried spellcrafting yet? It's not in the game yet. Saw a post on Discord. It was in game. The Druid spellcraft. Oh, you talking about where? Yeah, there's like Druid and Shaman pages that drop. I have no idea how those function. No clue. There's a ton of pages out there, and I guess maybe you can try to combine them to do something. But I don't know anybody that has done anything with the pages. I don't know anything about that. Like, literally, I don't know anybody that's even tried it. Unless someone is really hiding their findings, no one has figured anything out. Yeah, exactly. What Hoss is. Because Hoss is a high-level shaman. And Gith is a level 60 shaman. I have no idea what those pages are for. I think that was the start of research, and then it was never finished. It was just put into the game, never finished. Yeah, the new wizard stuff is definitely not in the game. 100% not in the game. Anybody that told you that it was in the game was mistaken or misunderstanding or whatever. It is not the new wizard spellcraft is not. They've talked about it on the website for the wizards and how they're going to function in the future, but that is not currently how they work. Pages, magic powders, quills, parchments. It's a bit frustrating. Yeah, I don't think they ever fully implemented it. Kind of like with alchemy, when they put in the alchemy stuff and the herbalism stuff, it doesn't stack and it doesn't, like, some of the things are just not in the game and all that kind of stuff. I just think that some things got misplaced, mixed up somehow. All right, let's get our rested bonus, and then we're going to start quad kiting these for a little bit, and then we're going to try to go quad kite, I think, over in Glass Flats. I think that's going to be the next place we go to. I just can't remember what level those mobs are, but I want to say they're like 20-something. So we're going to try to do those next. I was going to try to go to do the what are they called? Sangrel mobs over in Keeper's Bite, but I think there's casters in those groups, and I don't want to fight. I don't want to deal with the casters. When they start adding in more of the caster mobs of this game, it's gonna really hurt the solo crowd a lot, specifically the kiters. Is Arcanist? Yeah, the Arcanist can cast over there for sure. Flame Burst hurts? Sure does. Wizard nukes in general hurt a lot. The heck? Is the skeleton not coming down? Can't target it. Come on, Skelly boy. All right, where'd that other one go? We got our 4 skeletons, baby. All right, let's do this. Hey, what? You weren't supposed to catch me yet. Rude. Bum, 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 bum. All right, I think the one stuck in here we can't get. Yeah, I don't think we can get that one. So let's go over here. See if we can grab a couple of more. Can we get this one? Well, we got him aggroed. Let's see if he comes out of there. He's not coming out of there. They need to fix some of this stuck in a wall thing, you know? I don't have AoE snare yet. No, that's at 24. So 24 will have AoE snare. For now, we are just using Speed of the Wild. I've been for enchanters because I don't want to see what happens to an enchanter in EQ happen here. You know what I'm talking about? You mean that they use charm all the time? That's exactly what happened in EQ for enchanters. I don't know what you're talking about, Brian. Like you seem to be an advocate for enchanters having charm, but you don't want them to be what they were in EverQuest, which is enchanters using charm. So I don't understand where you're coming from. Guess you don't need AoE snare while Sal. You don't. No, you don't need AoE snare while you're Sal. Did that one finally escape the wall? Oh shoot, that's all right. We'll figure it out. I'm going to kill it separately. Ah! Don't hit me. Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. Ah! Yes, got it. Okay, good. He's got all wacky with the pathing and stuff. Oh my gosh. Come on, get on top of each other. This one skeleton is ruining my day. Yow. Oh shoot. There we go. Okay, let's go get some more mana. Mana banana. Yeah, this is partly why I say Speed of the Wild probably needs a little bit of a nerf or be changed, and I think it is getting changed with the class updates. So we'll see what they do with that, but I really think that Speed of the Wild is probably going to go away in its current form. Being a 1 hour buff that you can cast on anybody, all that kind of stuff. I think that's going away. Sal's OP. I mean, I wouldn't call it OP, but yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that. I think that it's becoming too necessary and too used to be able to do too many things. So we'll see what happens with it. Sal feels like you just need it to have... yeah, you need it at all times, exactly. Like, wouldn't it be better if you were incentivized to at least duo with a class providing speed to the group? I agree, Haas. I think that you should. Like, that's why I'm thinking that it needs to go to a group buff. And I think that we're going to be getting basically what Bard currently has for their run speed buff. That's where all of the Speed of the Wild buffs are going to go, right? Is in that direction, to where you have to be grouped with the class that increases your run speed and near them. And if you're not grouped with them and near them, you don't get the run speed buff. That's going to make Rangers super strong, by the way. Like, Rangers, Bards are going to be one of the most, or two of the most played classes, I feel like, once these new class changes happen. What if it was just like half the duration? Then it becomes more of an inconvenience to try and... Maybe they could do that too. They could change a lot of things with it. You know, have the duration, make it to where if you attack something, you lose the spell. Hang on one second. Like, when you go into combat, you lose it. Not when you get attacked, but when you actually attack something. Things like that, I think would be good changes to it. Diabolical would be it falls when that could be another thing. Yeah, it falls off when zoning indoors. I'm all for that, honestly, because they did say that the Ranger would be like one of the best outdoor classes, right? That's the direction they want to go with the Ranger, is making it focus on being outdoor and being stronger outdoors. So I would be all for that. Uh-oh. These two are not close enough. Get closer together. That close enough? That's close enough, right? Nice. Spell Blade kind of feels like a weaker monk. Like right now in the game, you mean? Monk got some pretty good changes. They got some pretty good changes recently that makes the class good. Spellblade, though, is a class that requires more gear than a monk does. So yes, right now I would say it would be a weaker monk currently. Because the monk can get away with not having as much gear. The Spellblade needs a lot of dex to feel really good. So a high-level Spellblade with a lot of dex is insanely strong. Like, really, really, really good. But you need gear. Monk needs all the gear, trust me. I don't trust you, Nidiak. I don't trust you. Now, monks definitely do benefit from having gear, for sure. But not as much as a Spellblade does. Oh boy. I didn't go far enough there. That'll be fine, actually. I don't need gear to bring mobs to camp. Well, yeah, it's not that. It's just that, like, monks have their hand-to-hand, so they don't necessarily need to have an upgraded weapon. They just need enough gear to be able to hit the mob. Whereas a Spellblade needs as much dex as possible because its damage is 100%. Well, not 100%. Its damage is highly based on proc chance. So the more procs it does, the more damage it does. The higher dex you have, the more procs it does. So more dex means a lot more damage for the Spellblade. More dex on the monk means that they hit the mob more often, but it doesn't really... Like, once you get to 50 or 60 dex, you're pretty much hitting the mob pretty consistently. And they do have a proc chance, but their proc isn't as important as a Spellblade's proc. Still nice. But a monk's, the current fire proc for the monks does a lot of damage. That does so much damage. Give us hand-to-hand and add some new boots to the game. We can kick hard, yeah. That said, there are only 2 Spellblades in existence. I mean, it's because they're not great at low level. Right now, Druid and Monk have been my favorite. I've only done Druid, Rogue, Monk, Spellblade, and Wizard so far to 10. Nice. Yeah, I'm digging the Wizard. Like, I'm actually having fun with it. I think that the Wizard is one of the weaker classes in a group. I mean, it can still function in a group, but it is one of the weaker classes in a group. But for quad kiting, it's pretty solid. Pretty solid class. Oh, these are now green. Okay, hang on. These are now green. We can actually leave here. We're not going to keep fighting these since they're green. We got to level 21, which is what we wanted to get to. I want to try out... I wonder if we can do mobs over in Glass Flats. A well-geared rogue in the mid-50s. I mean, if you have the right weapon on a rogue, yes, I agree with that. If you have the right weapon on a rogue, the right gear, like high strength, enough dex to hit the mobs, then yes, I think that rogues are okay. Not great, but they're okay. But when they get poisons, they're going to be really nice. Cleric life is the best life? Cleric life is easy life, for sure. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, let's get Sal. And we're going to go try to do the mobs over in Glass Flats. I don't remember what level they are. But we're going to try. I want to say they were like level 24, so they might be red to me. But I'm hoping they're like level 22, 23. 100 tells a day for... Yeah, that's true. Very true. I log in my friend's cleric. And holy moly. Like, I get tells instantly. Instantly. Yay! Oh, shoot. Hang on. There we go. I kind of want to make the goal for today to get to 24 on the wizard. And that would be new spells and group teleports. They might, Hoss. There's not very many of them in the game either, so. Criddle taxi service about to open? Maybe. Maybe. All of them are anonymous. Kaz doesn't go anonymous most of the time. And I don't know why. I don't know why. How do you feel about the current setup? How the main stats are set up? Strength, dex, agility. What do you mean by that, Lawrence? Like, what do you... Like what their uses are? If that's what you mean, then I would like to see more classes use more stats. Because as it stands, some classes require all of the stats to be good or can use every stat in the game, while other classes only need one stat. For example, wizards pretty much just need intelligence. Max out as much intelligence and you're a good wizard. Whereas if you go with like a tank, you need all of the physical stats. If you are a knight class, like a paladin or shadow knight or inquisitor, you need all of those plus wisdom or intelligence. So it's not a fair balance. So I feel like balancing that out some would be really nice. Some classes only need one stat, and a lot of hybrid tanks need them all. Exactly, yeah. I'm a tank. I definitely prefer a strength and dex at AC. Well, for leveling, while you're leveling, I would say as a tank right now, going strength and dex over anything else is good. Once you get higher level, specifically max level, you're going to want to switch that to agility and then stamina with enough strength and dex, enough dex to hit the mob, enough strength to maintain aggro, and then agility to avoid damage as much as possible, and then a lot of stamina for when you take those big hits. Haven't seen Dial-A-Port yet, but it'll be around probably. There is a guy that does it. He sits in Night Harbor at the bank, and he ports people around. I don't know how often he does it, though. But Wizards are definitely the better porters in the game because they have more ports. They can port to Glass Flats, Shaded Dunes, Evershade, Weld, and Vale of Zintar? I think they could go to Vale of Zintar as well. I feel like a lot of stats for the Shaman, but mini classes might only need 1 or 2, and a third is just nice. Yeah. Like, Shaman only needs Wisdom, really. But Shaman does benefit from having more stamina as well, quite a bit. So, yeah, I would say, you know, they might need a little bit more. They could also benefit from Intelligence if you use dots a lot. As a cleric, I wish the primary function of Wisdom was plus healing to a larger extent. Is really just a larger mana pool. It is a larger mana pool, but you are correct that plus healing, it does do plus healing, and I think that it should be more. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they should add items like itemization. That would be my preference. Intelligence and Wisdom help with the damage or healing. But I would rather see items that have like plus 5% damage, plus 10% damage to add more itemization to the caster classes and make them have to go and get those better items. Spell Haste is really not great for damage dealers. It's very good for the healers, but it doesn't really affect damage dealers that much unless you're trying to burn a mob as quickly as possible, which is not often the case. Like a wizard usually only casts 1 or 2 spells per mob. Usually 1 spell per pull is what a wizard is currently doing. So it's not really that beneficial. It's nice for the spellcasters. It'd be nice for like getting a quick snare on something. But yeah. The control classes, I mean, yeah, it's kind of nice for like an enchanter. It would probably be good for those. But kind of not. It's only good for those initially on the pull. A good enchanter will mentally have that timer down to where when a mez is about to wear, they re-mez it and they just know. But it is good on the pull for sure. Like if you have 5 mobs coming in, being able to mez them a little bit faster is definitely nice. I remain unconvinced Wizard will out-sustain any class. So where do we get off pretending it's a top DPS? I don't think it will either, bro, for show. I don't think the Wizards intended to out-DPS sustain. It's made to have some sustain, but really be there for the burst damage. It's going to be really, really good for that. But they could make it a good sustain class, if depending on how they do it, with its mana regen abilities, Arcane Invocation, for example. It's Arcane Infusion giving them the mana regen. So I'm level 21 now, so I'm getting like, what, 3 mana regen or whatever, I guess? Something like that. That's not, well, in Planes of Power, Brian, we're not talking about EverQuest anymore. If you guys continue to compare this game to EverQuest, not to be a jerk, I'm not going to keep reading your comments. Like, this is not EverQuest. It's Monsters and Memories. Just I don't know what to say. It's Monsters and Memories. Stop comparing it to EverQuest. These class changes are reaffirming that this is Monsters and Memories, not EverQuest. So if you don't remember, Enchanter was needed for most groups. A lot of folks didn't like that. They wanted to be able to just root. Yeah, I mean, sure, whatever. You're again comparing it to EverQuest. Mana Dart should recover some mana. That could be cool. Could be a cool way to do it. Yeah. Can you at least acknowledge that the camping and grinding mobs for hours and having a bursty wizard are two opposite in design? Oh no, I have acknowledged that many times, many times. I agree with you. I think that wizards right now, I don't know if I can kill these mobs. These are all red. What? Even these are red? I thought these were like level 23. They must be 24. Let's see if we can actually kill like a viper. Boycott wizards? Yeah. These aren't 30 plus. No, these are like 20, like high 20s. But let's see. Oh, that's gate, not... Let's do this. Yeah, that's going to resist too much. Dang it. The pirates? Oh, we could try the pirates, yeah. We could also try the Ashira that's over here. Let's look. The goblins are probably closer to me. The goblins might be... They might be as well. Yeah, we could check those. The low 20s. Yeah, those are casters, though. The Sangrel that are over there. I thought about that, but they're casters. They have casters. I think people will compare less after the changes. I hope so, yeah. It is. I agree. The game is very, very much like EQ, and it definitely follows a lot of the EQ stuff. I agree with you guys. Like I'm not disputing the fact that this game is very much an EverQuest clone when it comes to its classes, but it is not intended to be that way. So if a class, if you want to continue to say that a class is supposed to be like EverQuest, that's where you got to get out of here. Like that, it's just not. That's not the case. I wouldn't even say spiritual successor at this point, not with what they're trying to change. So these Mugraw Raiders, let me see if we can pull any of the Mugraw. There might be some spellcasters over here is the only issue. The KB animals are too low of level now, I think. Well, some of them aren't. But I've tried those. They're kind of a pain in the butt. Okay, so Mugraw Raider, Scalper. We could do these. Let's try these. Let's see how these do. Some shamans for sure. Yeah, I'm just hoping I can find some that are not casters over here. Like these three right here. Or these four, sorry. The problem is when I get them low on health, I don't want them to run. But they shouldn't run if there's a group of them. So it should be fine. All right, that's decent XP. We could do these. Let's do these for a bit, and we get free food out of it. Well, I'm not gonna pick that up though. I don't want to pick that up. I don't care if the classes are the same. Just that we keep a primary. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Like I want to see more of that. More of like the like having the 4 class types or 4 roles, 4 jobs. I want that. I'm tired of all these modern MMOs that are just so focused on the Holy Trinity. I don't want to see that anymore. I'm just tired of seeing it. Okay, so we got a spiritualist. We can't do those. What is this guy? A robber. We don't want the spiritualist. Yeah, spellcasters over there. I gotta find camps without the spellcasters. Good morning, Kits. How you doing, bud? Let's see. Shaman. Scrapper. Raider. Scrapper. What are these guys? Oh my god, a shaman. There's a lot of casters over here mixed in. Scrapper, Raider, Shaman. Raider. We can get these 2. Plus this Scrapper. Plus... Holy moly! These guys are fast! They're still hitting me! How far away can they hit me? What the heck, dude? Oh, they got Sal, don't they? Alright. We're gonna zone these off. Like, holy moly. Yeah, they got Sal by their buddies. Alright. I need to put up my Sense Magic so I can see that. Good gosh, dude. That was rough. I love the Shadow Knight. Be more Monster Hunter. The stolen skills for mobs will be insane. Hopefully it'll be really cool, yeah. I think what Monster Members poorly explained is that the class Paladin is just a keyword for what spells and abilities are on your kit. From a role-playing perspective, you can be fully evil Paladin morally and ethically. Yes, you can. Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't understand why there was a debate on that. I need a hide corpse, fully looted option. You have that. Wait, when you fully loot a corpse, they automatically disappear. Always. Like, that's already the case. I don't know what we're referring to there. Unless, well, if there's a ranger, then yeah, the rangers can still see them for the arrows thing. Blackside Bay Orcs, a lot of casters. I don't know. There's a bit of a bug. If there are arrows on the corpse, it stays because of the recover arrow ability. Yeah, well, yeah. But, I mean, just hide corpse. Looted. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I want to fight these because of the shaman. I mean, I could do, like, this one group right here. Let's go check the Ashira that are over here. I think there's some melee Ashira. Yeah, hide corpse, looted. Always is what I do. That's what my macro is. Seems to work fine for me. And then if you accidentally loot one that you need to see again, you show corpse, you loot it, and then you do the hide corpse looted always button again. Just make a macro. Like I literally have a macro for it. It's one of my global macros. It's this one right here. Use it on all my characters. Makes it pretty dang easy. I'm debating if I want to kill Ashira, though, because of the faction and having to gain... Actually, it'll be fine. Well, will it be fine? I don't know if I want to do that or not. Let's go check the pirates first. Then we might do... What's important about the Ashira faction? You can go into Telekir and use all of the merchants and things inside of Telekir, and there's quest lines for some Ashira stuff. Like, you can do quests with the Ashira. Pirate Ruins Claw faction. The, which one is the Claw faction? Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that either.